Hi and welcome. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Craig Koekemoer. I am a ThetaHealing Instructor, ThetaHealing Certificate of Science, and I'm also the Country Events Co-Ordinator and a remote location coordinator for ThetaHealing Instructor classes in Russia. Okay, so let's talk Theta Healing. When you consider Theta Healing, there's two basic principles. The first principle is that of a belief in a higher power. Now, you could believe in God, you could believe in one of the prophets, you could believe in Buddha. It doesn't matter what your religion is, as long as you have a belief in a higher power, that's all that is needed. The second main principle of Theta Healing is that of free agency and free will. You have to believe that each person, each individual has the ability to say yes and to say no. So that means that me as a Theta healer, I can't tell somebody what they should be believing. And I cannot tell somebody what they should be doing, because at the end of the day, it comes down to free agency or free choice, free will. And these are the two main principles of the Theta healing technique. So I had an example in a class where somebody who had already learned Theta healing a year before came to the class, and he was a little bit worried because he believed that Theta healing gives you this magical power. You know, you have fantastic control over other people. And his experience was very simple. He had gone and done a scanning exercise, and he had said something to a particular person in his class about a year ago, and that person panicked and freaked, and he saw the power that he had, and he thought, wow, hang on a second, this is bad stuff. I can really do some damage to somebody. Now, it's interesting to think about it, because it's possible that you can do that if you are not trained in the right way. And it's only possible because the other person will give you that power. The other person gives over their power to you, and they believe everything that you say. Now, Theta healing is not meant to be used in that way. When you do digging, when you do scanning, when you do reading, when you do any of the exercises in Theta healing, it comes down to free agency or free will. You have the ability to decide whether you're going to accept that information or not. And if you don't want to accept that information, you don't have to. You turn around, you say, thank you very much, nice to hear that, but I disagree, thanks, that's the end of the story. Whichever way you use the Theta healing technique, you always have to understand the power that you could potentially possess over another person should always be done in an ethical, in a soft, and in a loving and kind way. You shouldn't be telling people things and making them believe things which are not true. Because at the end of the day, one of the two basic principles is free agency and free will. So if you don't want to believe in something, you don't have to. And that is the beauty of the Theta healing technique. What is the biggest benefit of learning Theta healing? We're talking about physical, emotional, and mental well-being. And we talk about being able to dig into the situation, dig into the past, dig into why you have created specific beliefs. And one of the biggest benefits of the Theta healing technique is that you have the ability to self-discover your own life and tap into your subconscious, which allows you to understand why you think, why you behave, why you do things in a certain way. And then it allows you to actually make changes by resolving certain issues from the past, or understanding why you think and behave and do things in a certain way. Theta healing has an impact on your mind, primarily on your mind. And because what you think becomes what you speak, becomes what you do, it has a knock-on impact on your behavior and everything that goes through with your daily life. So if you think about wanting to lose weight, if you have a traumatic situation in the past where being thin, sexy, stud-like looking, whatever, and you didn't want that because it was associated with pain or hurt, and you started overeating and you started picking up weight, well, if you want to work on your weight issues, then first you have to work on the trauma or the reason why you believe it's not good to be skinny or thin or whatever the case might be. And in that sense, that is what the benefit of the Theta healing technique is. One of the biggest benefits is that you have the ability to understand why you create certain beliefs. You don't have to go in and become an instructor. You don't have to become a practitioner and run all sorts of sessions or anything like that. You can use it just for yourself if you want to. But the idea behind it is that it gives you the ability to understand why you think in a certain way and why you believe things. And it allows you to tap into that bottom level belief and understand, okay, this is where it started and this is how I can move forward in my life in a positive way. So we sit with the situation that people believe the only reason why you want to get into theta healing is because you are sick, that you have some kind of a health issue. And in my case, that's not the case. That's not true. I wasn't sick. I didn't have any kind of a mental, physical, spiritual, or emotional health crisis. When I started out with theta healing, I had met Natasha, and she was already involved in theta healing, and she said to me, Craig, maybe it's a good idea that you have a look at theta healing. And I went, yeah, okay. Just come out of working 12 years in London, doing a lot of stuff, including some security work, which, you kind of feel like the alpha male. And I didn't think about doing theta healing because I was sick or because I had some physical issues, anything like that. I thought about theta healing because I was interested to find out more about how we connect spiritually and how we connect with our minds. One of the basic concepts is that you use theta healing to get into the subconscious mind, to find out what the beliefs are, to find out why you created those beliefs, and then to give you the ability to make some changes. And in my case, I was in Thailand, and they had a theta healing practitioner class running on the next island. And Natasha said to me, hey, we've been talking about theta healing. There's this class on the next island. Do you want to go? And I was like, well, yeah, why not? I've got nothing else to do. We're out here on holiday. I've got some time on my hands. Why not? Okay, so you've been talking about this theta healing technique for a long time. Let's go and have a look. And when I got into theta healing, I had a couple of experiences which really opened up my eyes to the possibilities of energy, the possibilities of spirituality, the possibilities of digging, the possibilities of finding out what makes you tick as a human being, and the possibilities of making positive, impactful change on your life. So if you are listening to a lot of people saying, oh yeah, you got to pray for this healing and that sickness, and you got to do this and that, and it's all got to do with health. Theta healing is not just about health. It's about finding out where those beliefs were created, and it's about using that ability to change to make positive change. You could use it for your business. You could use it for the people that work for you. You could use it for your relationships with your family. You can use it, of course, you can use it for your health. You can use it for anything in your life. And it is not something that is only focused on health. So for those of you out there and you are more interested in finding out about the theta healing technique, follow me for more information and watch this space, because I will be posting regular updates with more information to explain to you how the theta healing technique really works.